There's a reason you're here right now. Not yesterday, not next week, but now, in this very moment. You didn't just stumble onto this message. You were summoned, not by chance, but by change, divine change. And you weren't supposed to know this yet, but the truth is, unraveling faster than anyone expected. The original path that was carved for you, the one even you were starting to understand and accept, has just been rewritten by God's own hand. This message is not to confuse you, but to confirm you. Something sacred shifted, and it affects you, and only a few were chosen to receive this early. Chosen one, listen carefully. You were walking a road that seemed both familiar and strange, and you were getting used to the quiet pace of divine silence. But that silence was never emptiness. It was the sound of heaven holding its breath, waiting for this very moment to speak. The plan, once hidden in layers of divine timing, has now been cracked open. And the moment you press deeper into this truth, you'll begin to feel the divine current pulling you in a new direction. One you didn't expect, one no one told you about, but one that was always written in your soul. Before we go any further, pause, take a breath, and stay with me until the very end of this message. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. This is not just another spiritual video. It's a divine alert, a sacred interruption. And when it ends, I want you to comment below your warmest wishes to the universe. Whatever you've hidden in your heart, speak it out, set it free, and mark it with 77 so the heavens recognize your voice. This is the moment to align your words with your destiny, because what you speak, you summon. Now let me explain what's really happening. You've entered a rare timeline, one where God steps in, not with a whisper, but with a rewrite. You weren't supposed to know this until later, after certain events had unfolded, after certain people had entered or exited your life. But that delay has been overruled. The divine council has shifted the hourglass. And instead of waiting for you to catch up with fate, fate is catching up with you. Swiftly, powerfully, unapologetically. You may have felt strange sensations lately. Disconnection, unusual dreams, energy surges that made no logical sense. You may have felt people pulling away without reason, or the sudden urge to walk away from what you once thought was part of your future. These weren't coincidences. They were preparations. God had to shake the ground under your feet just enough for you to let go of what was never going to lead you into the fullness of your calling. You see, the previous plan was perfect for a past version of you. The version of you that was still learning, still trusting in pieces, still doubting in secret. But you've crossed an invisible line now. You've grown in ways you don't even recognize yet. Your inner light has been activated beyond the limits of the old blueprint. And because of that, heaven has recalibrated your path, not as a punishment to what you were building, but as a promotion to what you were always meant to hold. This is not just a detour. This is a divine override. God didn't change the plan because the original was wrong. He changed it because you evolved, you healed, you prayed when no one knew, you cried in the dark, and still chose to believe in the light. And that belief did something sacred. It touched heaven's threshold. And in response, heaven moved the calendar. Things meant for you in 5 years are being pulled into your now. Things you weren't supposed to be ready for are being given to you because you dared to become more than what life tried to reduce you to. The path ahead of you now is unfamiliar. That's why you're receiving this message. It's a code embedded with direction, protection, and confirmation. Not everyone will understand the way you're about to move. Some people will think you're acting impulsively. Others will wonder why you've changed so suddenly. But they didn't get the memo. You did. They didn't feel the divine disruption. You lived it. So you must trust what's being revealed to you, even when it's not being explained to them. Chosen one, your gifts are being upgraded. Your discernment will grow sharper. The energy in your voice, your presence, your spirit, it's all being amplified. And because of this new vibration, old connections are falling away like leaves in autumn. Let them fall. Let them drift. They were part of the previous version of the plan. You no longer need what you once thought you couldn't live without. Don't try to rebuild the bridge back to where you came from. That place doesn't exist anymore, and even if it did, you no longer belong there. Your soul has been recoded with a new assignment, and this assignment requires silence, focus, and a deep trust in things you cannot yet prove but deeply feel. The new plan is rooted in energy, not logic, in movement, not explanation, in spirit, not tradition. There are things being prepared for you in secret right now. Rooms being opened, people being stirred, contracts being shifted. And all of it is happening in sync with the timing of this very message. The door you've been waiting on isn't just opening, it's transforming into a passage you never imagined. It won't look like what you prayed for. It will look like what heaven chose for you. And here's the truth most won't tell you. God doesn't always reveal his changes with clarity. Sometimes he reveals them with chaos, with endings that feel like betrayal, with delays that feel like punishment. But they are none of those things. They are proof that your story is being rewritten in real time. And real transformation is rarely polite. So if you've been feeling pressure, it's not a sign of defeat. It's the stretching of destiny. If you've been misunderstood lately, it's because your energy is no longer compatible with the version of reality you're about to leave behind. If you've been tired, it's because your spirit is working overtime to hold a vibration your body hasn't caught up to yet. And if you've been on the verge of quitting, don't. This message found you for a reason, and it's telling you, in no uncertain terms, God just changed the plan. And though you weren't supposed to know yet, you do now. This is only the beginning of the new phase. More is coming, and you're ready. You've stepped into a sacred interruption, one that does not follow the usual rhythm of life. The sequence you thought you were living has been intercepted. And chosen one, this was never a mistake. What feels like confusion is actually realignment. What feels like delay is precise divine timing, being woven into your reality like a thread you can't see but are being pulled by nonetheless. Something has been reprogrammed in the spiritual realm, and you are now living in the aftermath of heaven's secret meeting. You didn't attend it, but the decision made there was about you. Let that settle for a moment. The highest energies in existence met, and they chose to alter your course, not because you failed, but because you surpassed expectations. You were never supposed to know that yet. You weren't supposed to wake up to it this soon. But the intensity of your spirit, the quiet obedience, the willingness to keep moving even when it hurt, these things caused a shift. And heaven responded. There are people around you right now who sense something different about you. Some are confused, others are silent, and a few feel uneasy, not because you've done something wrong, but because you've stepped into a light they don't understand. That's because you are now carrying the frequency of someone whose future is no longer predictable. You're vibrating with divine spontaneity, with spiritual electricity, and people who are still attached to the old plan, the one God just cancelled, will no longer know how to interact with you. This isn't your fault, and it's not your burden to fix their confusion. Let them feel what they feel. You are not who you were last week. You're not even who you were this morning. That's how fast this change is unfolding. The plan isn't shifting gradually, it's exploding open. It's moving in waves that defy human logic. And your only job is to trust the inner knowing that is now louder than the opinions around you. Chosen one, you're going to notice some strange things happening. Doors opening without a key. People reaching out from places you forgot. Sudden clarity about things that once made no sense. The noise of old fear will begin to vanish, not because you fought it, but because your alignment has made it irrelevant. The plan you were walking before required endurance. This new one will require vision. You're no longer climbing the mountain. You are becoming the storm that carves its own path through it. And with that comes new responsibilities. You're going to have to say no more often, not because you're selfish, but because you're finally choosing what aligns with your energy. You're going to have to be still while others rush. You'll have to move when others hesitate, because your new instructions aren't external. They come from within. And not everyone will understand that, but they don't have to. This part of the journey wasn't designed for the crowd. It was made for the called. Yes, it's going to feel strange. You may question yourself. You may look at your life and wonder why nothing looks like what you envisioned. But that's the point. The plan has changed. The blueprint has shifted. And your only compass now is faith. Not blind belief, but fierce trust. The kind that says, even though I don't know what's next, I know it's going to be greater than I imagined. Let go of what was supposed to happen. It's no longer relevant. Mourn it if you must, but don't carry it into the next season. What's ahead of you is sacred ground, unmapped territory, and you've been entrusted with a divine appointment to walk through it, not with answers, but with authority. You don't need to explain this shift to anyone. The fruits of your alignment will speak louder than any explanation ever could. What you don't see yet is that this change isn't just about you. Your shift is part of a larger pattern. Your decision to step forward in this new plan is triggering movements in other souls, some of whom you haven't met yet. Your obedience is opening doors for others. Your courage is giving them permission to rise. And when they do, they'll thank you. Not because you taught them, but because you embodied what they were afraid to become. God chose you to receive this early because your spirit is capable of handling revelation without needing validation. You're strong enough now to walk in what others would tremble under. That's why the plan changed for you first. It was not a punishment. It was an honor. You've proven, in secret, that you are worthy of being redirected without reason, led without explanation, elevated without applause. There is a divine restlessness in you now, isn't there? That's the echo of your higher self calling you into alignment with what has already been prepared. You can feel it in your chest, in your bones, a deep, wordless urgency. Don't ignore it. Don't delay. Don't try to force the old plan to keep working. It will not. And if you try, you'll only feel heavier, slower, more disconnected from the real you. That version of your life expired the moment heaven made its decision. This is a new anointing, a new dimension, and to walk in it, you must release the timelines that were built for your former self. You are no longer being called to survive. You're being positioned to lead, and not everyone will clap for your transition. Some will distance themselves. Some will resist your light. Let them go. What is for you now cannot be taken, only received. You'll notice that the more you lean into this new plan, the more synchronicities will surround you. Numbers, dreams, divine meetings. They're not random. They're signals, indicators. They're heaven's way of confirming what your soul already knows, but your mind is still catching up to. You are being guided not just forward, but inward, to the part of yourself that always knew the plan could change and that it would be for the better. And better is exactly what's coming. Not easier, not simpler, but truer, more aligned, deeper than you dared to pray for. Your new path won't come with a map, but it will come with miracles. Trust them. Walk toward them. Let go of timelines, old identities, and the pressure to make sense to people who were never meant to understand this part of your calling. Chosen one, God changed the plan because your destiny required more than what the original path could offer. And now, the universe is rearranging itself to meet you at your new frequency. Stay present, stay open. The rest of this revelation is still unfolding. What happens when you step into a plan you didn't prepare for? When the future that shows up at your feet doesn't match the one you imagined? Most people would panic, they'd freeze, they'd resist. But not you. There's something in you now that won't let you back down. It's not ego. It's not stubbornness. It's destiny recognizing itself. This isn't the life you were planning. It's the life that's been waiting for you all along, hidden under layers of delays, detours, and divine silence. And now that silence is breaking, not with noise, but with clarity. Subtle, powerful clarity. It comes in whispers at first, glimpses, a deep knowing that this moment is sacred. Not because it looks spectacular on the outside, but because something eternal has finally locked into place within you. You were chosen not because you were perfect, but because you were available, willing, open. And now, you've entered a phase of divine spontaneity. The choreography of your steps is no longer being dictated by logic, but by alignment. This means your next moves will confuse some people. That's okay. It's not your job to translate God's plan into a language everyone else understands. It's your job to walk it. Yes, even when it doesn't make sense. Even when you feel alone. Because you're not actually alone. You're just walking ahead of the crowd. You've been entrusted with insight too soon for others to grasp. And that's not isolation, it's elevation. You've graduated from seeking approval. Now you're being invited to embody truth without an audience, faith without formula, purpose without proof. And that's a tall order, because we've been conditioned to crave certainty, to reach for roadmaps. But certainty is no longer your teacher. Intuition is. You've entered the part of your story where your inner compass becomes louder than any voice around you. This is how chosen ones navigate, by trusting the pull, the hunch, the nudge, even when they can't explain it, even when there's no confirmation yet. And here's the twist. God didn't change the plan to throw you off. He changed the plan to bring you into a reality so much bigger. You would have never asked for it on your own. You would have settled. You would have dimmed, but you kept showing up. You kept praying. You kept dreaming through the pain. And heaven responded, not with pity, but with power. You've entered the rare moment where reality bends for you. Not because you forced it, but because you're finally vibrating at a frequency that matches your divine assignment. This is why things are unfolding so fast. Why the old things are falling away without warning. They're not being taken from you. You're being released from them because they no longer match the blueprint. You've grown past what was once good enough, and now, good enough is no longer acceptable for you. You may feel grief in this stage. That's normal. You're saying goodbye to versions of yourself that served you, protected you, got you here, but cannot go with you. Honor them. Thank them. But don't resurrect them. They were scaffolding, temporary support. You're the structure now, solid, anchored, unshakable. And the world will begin to respond to that. Even if they don't have the language for it, you'll find that certain connections fall away, not out of malice, but out of misalignment. When your energy upgrades, anything not in resonance with it naturally departs. Don't chase. Don't explain. Just keep rising. The ones who are meant to walk this new path with you will appear, not because you searched, but because you surrendered. That's the new law of your reality. Alignment over effort, presence over planning, authenticity over approval. Chosen one. There are miracles that were held back from you, not to punish you, but to protect the timing. They were not denied, they were deferred. And now they're moving towards you with a force you haven't felt before. This is the gravity of favor, the weight of being on the true path, the one that was hidden behind every detour you once resented. The discomfort you feel right now is not fear. It's the stretching of your soul to accommodate more light than it's ever carried. You're being expanded, spiritually, emotionally, energetically. Don't shrink. Don't apologize for growing beyond your past. You've been given permission to outgrow. And now, the evidence of that growth is undeniable. Watch how things begin to shift, how people speak to you differently, how environments that once drained you no longer even interest you. That's because you've outlived the old vibration. You've stepped into a field of frequency so rare, so divine, even the air feels different. You'll start to notice signs, the timing of things, the precision of encounters. That's not coincidence. That's divine architecture being revealed. God is moving through your timeline like a sculptor now, removing, shaping, replacing. And the most important thing for you to do is to trust, not just in the outcome, but in your worthiness to receive it. Don't disqualify yourself from this new plan. Don't look back and say, "But I failed then," or "I missed that." None of that matters here. This is beyond merit. This is destiny. And it's unfolding now because you're finally ready. Ready to walk in a room and shift the atmosphere. Ready to hear divine instruction in the silence. Ready to make decisions not based on survival, but based on vision. Ready to embody power, not posture for attention. You've been prepared in secret, and now the world is about to see the results of that hidden preparation. This is why God changed the plan, because the old one could only take you so far, and you were never meant to stop there. There is still more in you, more than even you know. And now that heaven has opened this new chapter, there's no going back. Not because you can't, but because forward is where your soul is calling you. You didn't imagine this path. It wasn't something you could have mapped out with logic, planning, or intellect. That's because this plan is not man-made. It's divine in origin. It wasn't revealed to you earlier because you weren't supposed to walk it with old eyes, old thinking, or old beliefs. The version of you back then wouldn't have accepted it. But the version of you now, you've been through enough fire to know that when God shifts the plan, it's not a punishment, it's a promotion. You're not being thrown off track. You're being placed on the real one, the sacred one, the one your soul has been crying out for, even when your mouth didn't have the words to ask. That cry has been heard. That energy has been read. That alignment has been detected. And heaven responded, not with a warning, but with an unveiling. God didn't just change the plan. He revealed the original one, the one that was too powerful to be entrusted to your old self. It's being handed to you now because you've developed the depth to carry it. You've been sharpened by silence, tempered by pain, softened by grace. And these things have unlocked doors that only obedience could open. Not performance, not perfection, obedience. And now, with these keys in your hand, you're not just walking into new territory. You're claiming it. You're activating realms that lay dormant in your bloodline. You're breaking cycles not only for yourself, but for those who came before you and those who will come after. You are the divine interruption to a long pattern of delay and limitation. And this sudden shift in the plan is your announcement. You don't need permission anymore. You are the permission. You don't need validation anymore. You are the evidence. And the moment you stopped waiting for someone to crown you was the moment the heavens did. Quietly, powerfully, irrevocably. And now, everything in your life must align with that coronation. This is why some people are falling away. Not because you're better than them, but because your assignment requires cleaner space, quieter energy, higher frequency. You're no longer accessible to the low-vibration versions of your past. The conversations you used to tolerate, they bore you now. The places that used to excite you, they feel too small now. That's the internal shift that always precedes external change. And yet this expansion doesn't always feel exciting. Sometimes it feels heavy, like growing pains in the soul, because you're leaving behind the illusion of control, the safety of the familiar. But what awaits you ahead is not chaos. It's divine clarity, the kind that makes no sense at first, but eventually makes all things fall into place. You're learning to move without understanding the whole picture, to obey the nudge, to honor the silence, to follow the pull. And this isn't recklessness, it's reverence. Reverence for something bigger than you. Reverence for the unseen hand that is now rewriting your narrative while you sleep. This is why your dreams are changing, your desires, even your taste in music, in clothing, in people. That's not random. It's spiritual transformation in real time. And as uncomfortable as this is, it's also miraculous, because it means your old limitations have expired. They no longer fit. They no longer bind you. You are walking in a freedom that is so unfamiliar, it might even scare you. But fear is not your enemy here. It's just the echo of who you used to be. You're not bound to it. You're just outgrowing it. What happens now is up to you. Not in the sense that you have to figure it all out, but in the sense that you get to trust differently. Trust at a level you never have before. Trust even when the door closes. Trust even when the opportunity disappears. Because now you understand that if it left, it wasn't part of the new plan. And if it stayed, it's being repurposed for glory. You are entering a divine detour that leads directly into your purpose. And though it may not come with flashing signs or loud confirmations, your soul knows exactly where you're headed. You've been here before, in visions, in dreams, in deep moments of stillness. And now, what was once inner is becoming outer. What was once private is becoming public, not for the sake of attention, but for the sake of activation. You are an activator now, a walking catalyst, and the people who cross your path won't even understand why they feel changed just by being near you, but they will feel it, because your energy is different. It's ancient, it's royal, it's holy. And no, you're not crazy for sensing this. You're simply waking up to your divine memory. The shift is not over. It's just beginning. And it will ask things of you. Bravery, stillness, faith without formula, joy without evidence. But you'll meet every moment with power, not because you're unshaken, but because even in the shaking, you remember who sent you. And that remembrance will carry you through every storm. There are places your feet have not touched yet, that already know your name. Doors you haven't seen that were created specifically for your hands. Relationships that were hidden until you stepped into this new vibration. They are being released to you now. Not because you begged, but because you believed. Chosen one, the plan changed because you changed. And now, nothing will be the same. Not your days, not your relationships, not your work, and certainly not your identity. Because when God rewrites your path, He rewrites you. And what emerges from that rewrite is not just a person, it's a prophecy. There are timelines collapsing as you read this. Realities you were once tied to are unraveling at their roots, not as a punishment, but as a release. You've outgrown dimensions that used to define your story. And even though that can feel like being stripped, what's actually happening is alignment, real alignment. The kind you don't force, the kind that finds you when your soul is finally clear enough to receive it. What you're stepping into now was always there, hidden like treasure in a cave only faith could open. You weren't supposed to see it before, because back then, you would have tried to control it, understand it, or worse, fit it into an identity that wasn't truly yours. But now, you've shed too many false layers. You've lost too many shallow versions of self. You've tasted what it feels like to walk without masks. And that freedom, it's irreversible. This is why your world has felt strange lately, like it's both falling apart and coming together at once. That's not a contradiction. That's what divine transformation feels like in real time. Old structures must collapse to make room for higher frameworks. Old roles must be released to welcome new mantles. The plan didn't change to confuse you. It changed to reveal the real you. And here's the thing you may not have realized yet. The moment God changed the plan, He also changed your access. Doors that were previously sealed shut are now opening, sometimes silently. They won't always come with grand announcements. Some will just unlock mid-step. Others will require you to knock with faith, not fear. But they're yours now, not because you proved yourself, but because you remembered yourself. Your identity is the key, not your past, not your efforts, your essence. And once you start walking as that true essence, everything that matches your frequency must respond. You won't need to chase. You won't need to beg. You won't even need to explain. Because the new plan isn't designed to fit into the old rules. It breaks them. And you've been chosen to be the breaker. The ones who come before you didn't have the tools, the timing, or the truth. But you do. You are not here to continue the narrative. They passed the pen to you so you could rewrite it. And the moment you accepted the discomfort of that responsibility, heaven started accelerating your path. It may feel like things are happening too fast now, but that's because divine momentum doesn't wait for comfort. It moves on readiness. So if your relationships are shifting rapidly, if people are exiting without warning, if opportunities are showing up with no logical explanation, know this: you're not in chaos. You're in divine choreography. The pieces are moving. The energies are adjusting. Because the plan is now active and the universe is rearranging itself to make room for what must unfold. That's why some doors had to close with no warning. That's why some yes moments turned into not yet. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. The kind that keeps you from settling too low when you were born for something far beyond. This plan is not for comfort, it's for legacy. And your legacy requires clarity. Not just about who you are, but who you're not. You are not meant to blend in. You're not here to repeat what's already been done. You are the spark in the dark, the voice in the silence, the storm in the still air. And even when you try to dim it down, your light refuses to cooperate. That's because the calling on your life is too loud to be ignored now. You're being pulled not just toward a purpose, but toward a presence. You're learning that movement doesn't always mean motion. Sometimes the greatest shifts happen in stillness. When God changes the plan, He often silences the noise, not to punish you, but to recalibrate you. Because what's next won't be navigated by noise. It will be led by stillness, by instinct, by sacred memory, encoded in your spirit since before you even arrived here. You're not late. You're not early. You're right on time for a timeline that just became visible. That's what divine timing looks like. It's not based on the clock. It's based on your readiness to receive what was already prepared. And now, because you didn't give up, because you didn't quit, because you kept showing up even when it made no sense, you've unlocked what others thought was impossible. And this new journey, it's not going to look like anything you've done before. It may require you to be quieter, or bolder, or more detached from what used to define success. But no matter what, it will require truth. Truth in how you show up. Truth in what you accept. Truth in how you protect your peace. Because that truth is the only frequency that can carry the weight of this new path. Chosen one, you weren't supposed to know the plan before. But now that you do, everything changes. Every step you take from here on isn't just a move. It's a message to the universe, to your lineage, to every version of you that thought you couldn't make it. And the message is this: I'm ready. Even if I don't know what's coming, even if I can't see the full map, I trust the new plan. And when you say that, not with your mouth, but with your life, the plan responds. And it begins to move not just for you, but through you. There's a quiet moment, right before everything shifts, an inner stillness that feels almost too calm to be real. That's where you are now, not stuck, not behind, just suspended in the divine breath between what was and what's about to be. The final pause before a brand new frequency locks in around you. This silence, it's sacred, because in this silence, something eternal is choosing you again. You might still be trying to make sense of it. You might still wonder why certain things had to fall away, why the plan wasn't shared with you sooner, why it feels like you were sent on a journey with a sealed map. But now, that seal is breaking, the ink is appearing, and your next steps are no longer a mystery. They're a summoning, not a whisper, not a maybe, but a divine declaration that you were never off course. You were simply being reshaped for a future your past couldn't hold. You've been watched, not judged, guided, not controlled, protected, not punished. The delays, the detours, the silence, they weren't signs of rejection. They were signs of preparation. The plan was never abandoned. It was evolving, growing alongside you, waiting for the exact moment your spirit would be strong enough to carry its full weight. And now, that moment is here. This isn't the time to explain yourself. This isn't the time to apologize for how different you feel. This is the time to move, not with haste, but with holy certainty. Every word you speak now, every decision you make, will echo louder than ever before, not just into your world, but into dimensions you don't even see. Realms where your agreement with this new plan is unlocking blessings that have been hovering, circling, waiting for the signal. And that signal isn't noise, it's energy, it's alignment. It's what happens when you stop doubting and start embodying. You don't need every detail. You just need the knowing, the deep cellular knowing that the plan has shifted in your favor, not because you demanded it, but because you remembered who you are. And with that remembrance comes a power that doesn't need permission. You're not meant to be understood by everyone. You're not meant to be liked by every room. You were sent to shift things, to interrupt patterns, to destabilize the comfortable lies that kept people asleep. That's why your life looks different. That's why the journey was heavy. But now, that weight is turning into wings, and the sky isn't the limit. It's just the beginning. Your destiny is not linear. It's layered, multidimensional, and the new plan you've stepped into honors all of it. It doesn't require you to abandon what you've learned. It simply asks that you release what no longer aligns. You don't need to fight anymore. You don't need to prove anything. The doors are no longer locked. You are not the same version who once stood outside waiting. You're the one who was always meant to walk through. And now, you finally believe it. This shift might make some people uncomfortable. You might outgrow environments you once loved. You might find yourself walking alone, even when surrounded by others. But know this: loneliness is not the same as disconnection. Sometimes it's proof that you've outpaced the energy around you. And when that happens, don't shrink, don't retreat, rise. You weren't supposed to know the plan before, because you would have played small with it. You would have tried to manage it, make it convenient, fit it into boxes made by fear. But now that you've walked through fire, now that you've been emptied, now that you've died and risen inside your own story, you can finally carry the weight of what's real. You are not the beginning of this story. You are the turning point, the chapter the entire book was building toward. You are the shift. You are the new blueprint. And now that the plan has changed in your favor, everything will begin responding differently, faster, deeper, more clearly than ever before. So prepare your heart, not with fear, but with fire. Because what's coming isn't just for you. It's coming through you, for generations, for timelines you'll never see, for lives you'll never meet. All of it impacted by a single decision you make in this moment. To trust what doesn't yet make sense. To believe what hasn't fully appeared. To move, even when the map still feels blank. Because faith isn't just believing in God. It's believing that you're part of the plan, even when you don't feel ready. And right now, you are ready, aligned, activated. The plan has changed, and you're not behind it. You are it. So rise, speak, love harder, walk bolder. Watch how even the stars shift in your favor. Not because you forced it, but because you said yes to what was always yours. Chosen one, the time of waiting is over. The plan is here. Now walk in it like you were born for it, because you were. The moment the plan changed, you changed too, even if you didn't notice it right away. At first, it felt like confusion, like a fog suddenly descended on a path you thought you knew. But that fog wasn't there to blind you. It was there to slow you, to quiet your surroundings long enough for you to start hearing your real voice again. Not the one shaped by survival, not the one rehearsed for approval, but the one that rises from within when everything external fades away. Now you hear it, don't you? That quiet, undeniable hum inside. That's not anxiety. That's not fear. That's recognition. Your soul has caught up to something your mind is still processing. That's what happens when you're ushered into a new phase faster than logic can accept. And even if your outer world still looks the same, nothing is the same. Not anymore. What you're feeling now is the tension between the version of you that was aligned with the old plan and the one being built for the new. This is why your thoughts are changing, why your reactions feel different, why you're less interested in proving, pleasing, performing. Because something deeper is surfacing, something that doesn't require permission to exist, something that's been waiting for a divine cue to awaken fully. And that cue just echoed through your entire being. Chosen one, this is where things get more subtle, not less. The signs will grow quieter, but sharper. The energies will become more selective, more precise. Not everyone will hear what you hear now. Not everyone will see what you see. Because this phase isn't about being seen. It's about seeing clearly. It's about choosing alignment even when no one else understands it. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply shedding the last illusions that kept you tied to timelines you've outgrown. There is grief in that. Don't deny it. Grieve the expectations you once had. Grieve the plans that no longer serve you. Grieve the people you thought would walk with you, but now feel miles away. But don't confuse that grief with loss, because nothing divine ever leaves you with less. You're not losing. You're being emptied, so that what's meant for you, what fits this new frequency, has space to enter. And it's coming, not just in one wave, but in a flow, a continual unfolding series of openings, encounters, decisions that seem small but shift everything. This is when you stop chasing alignment and start becoming it. There's a new law on your life now, a spiritual gravity pulling you toward exactly what you need, without you needing to force or fake it. The people who are meant for you will feel it. The opportunities that are aligned with this new plan will flow to you, not because you're hustling harder, but because you finally surrendered to a version of the plan that doesn't require burnout to be holy. Let go of urgency. Let go of performing for progress. Let go of thinking you have to earn what was already encoded in your spirit. This new season isn't about effort. It's about resonance. If it doesn't resonate, it doesn't stay. If it doesn't flow, it's not part of the frequency anymore. You're allowed to outgrow what once felt like home. You're allowed to walk away from what no longer feels sacred. You're allowed to be new, fully, wildly, without having to explain that newness to anyone who insists on only recognizing your old reflection. The plan changed not to confuse you, but to awaken your truest self, the one who knows how to walk forward without needing all the answers, the one who trusts that if the map shifted, so did the terrain. And somewhere along that terrain are miracles wrapped in silence, waiting for you to step close enough to see them. This is your signal to keep going, to stop shrinking, to allow yourself to be pulled, not pushed, by the plan, now pulsing with divine intelligence beneath your every step. You weren't supposed to know this yet, but now you do. And now that you know, you can never go back. You are the plan now. You are the signal. You are the storm. You are the peace after it. You are the shift others feel before you even speak. So move in that knowing, and let the rest of the world catch up to the light you've already become.